Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're looking at something truly fascinating. The absolute scaffolding of how we learn to decode the world and actually tell stories. We're analyzing the text of a foundational English learning module, specifically Let's Go 6, Unit 1, School Days. But, we aren't just looking at this as some simple vocabulary lesson. Not at all. We're going to see how this source material brilliantly structures the escalation of language, literally taking a learner from pointing out simple objects in a room to narrating a full-blown historical event. It is absolutely a masterclass in the building blocks of storytelling.
Okay, let's dive right into this roadmap. We'll start with establishing basic ownership, then move into using action as identity, master the concept of interrupted time, and finally, we'll wrap it all up with the ice pop narrative. All right, Section 1, establishing basic ownership.
I want you to imagine yourself stepping into a busy, probably somewhat chaotic classroom. Pulling straight from page 4 of our source material, we're immediately hit with a very practical question. Whose scarf is that? It's a simple mystery, right? Well, to solve it, sure, we need vocabulary, but more importantly, we need a grammatical structure that actually connects an object to a person. And this brilliantly illustrates our very first major leap in narrative efficiency. We're moving from the super literal answer, it is Anna's scarf, to the grammatical shortcut that makes natural storytelling possible, it is hers. The source material systematically introduces these possessive pronouns, mine, hers, his, yours. This teaches the learner how to condense information, which is absolutely crucial because it allows a story to just flow without constantly repeating names and nouns over and over.
To really lock this in, the text rapidly escalates through this whole list of daily accessories. We move from the scarf to mittens, gloves, glasses, belts, and watches. And it all culminates in this wonderfully catchy rhythm found in the text, the chanting repetition of whose boots are these. The text playfully asks, are you sure they're yours? All of them? It's fun, but it's quietly cementing a core narrative tool. Because, once we know who owns the boots, we can figure out who is walking in them.
Moving right along to Section 2, Action as Identity.
The source text sets this next level up perfectly with a really rhythmic scenario. It reads, Kim's father was born in Seoul. They speak Korean at home. Which man is Kim's father? Think about the storytelling at play here for a second. We have the background information, where he was born, what language he speaks, but to actually identify him right now, right in this crowded room, we need an immediate action. So the answer? He's the man who's waiting for the phone. Now, what's really interesting here is how the text systematically maps out the classroom dynamics using relative clauses. Imagine a new teacher trying to learn her students' names. Scott isn't just some boy sitting passively at a desk. His entire identity in this mini-narrative is tied to his action. He is the boy who is watering the plants. Jenny is the girl writing on the board. Kate is the girl feeding the fish. By tying character to action, the language learner is literally learning character development. We're defining the players on our stage by what they are actively doing in the present moment.
Let's see how this builds even further in Section 3. Mastering interrupted time. Here's where things get dramatic. The source text introduces the past continuous tense and just collides it head-on with the simple past tense. We start with ongoing, peaceful action. Point 1, Jenny was sitting on a bench. Point 2, Kate was walking in the park. Andy was drinking some water. These are just ongoing realities. But then, boom, point 3 happens. It started to rain. That sudden, simple past action completely interrupts the continuous state. And guys, this is the very essence of plot. When it started to rain is the inciting incident that forces our characters to react. And the textbook doesn't just stop at the weather either. It escalates the drama to really test this new narrative tool. The text presents this game where learners have to answer questions like, what was she doing when she heard the noise? And, my personal favorite, what was he doing when he saw the skunk? It's a slightly absurd, rapidly escalating drama, for sure, but it is highly effective. It forces the learner to paint a vivid picture of a tranquil moment that is entirely shattered by a total surprise.
Which brings us to our grand finale, Section 4, the ice pop narrative.
Out of nowhere, the text shifts our focus instantly to history by dropping a very specific year, 1905. It asks a pretty compelling hook question. Do you like ice pops? It then introduces us to our protagonist, a young boy named Frank, who actually made the very first ice pop back in that exact year. So the absolutely crucial point here is how perfectly Frank's story aligns with the language scaffolding we've just covered. It's like a giant puzzle snapping together. Step 1, Frank's ongoing action. One cold night, he was mixing soda water outside. He was mixing the soda with a straw. Then, step 2, the interruption. He was mixing the soda when he heard his mother come inside. "Frank," she said. This simple interruption causes him to completely forget his cup. Step 3, the resolution. In the morning, the soda water was frozen solid. He pulled it out and the ice pop was born. It's an accidental, literally world-changing invention told using the exact grammatical framework of interrupted continuous action that we just learned.
It is truly remarkable when you step back and look at the whole shebang. We started this explainer by simply trying to figure out who owned a pair of boots and whose scarf was randomly left on a desk. Layer by layer, we added the ability to describe what people were doing, and then how those actions were interrupted by the totally unexpected. We built the capacity for narrative. We went from basic, everyday vocabulary all the way to decoding the history of a beloved invention. These are literally the tools that build every single story we tell. So knowing how these pieces fit together, what will you narrate next? Thank you so much for joining me, and keep exploring the structures that shape our world.